Deep True Crime. I'm Manny Rodriguez. In today's episode, we are bringing you an update, a very good update. If you follow my channel, yesterday I did a story on the mystery disappearance of Crystal Rogers of Bardstown, Kentucky, going on 8 years that she's been missing. Now, right out of the gate, few months after, should I say that, of her disappearance, her boyfriend at the time, or ex-boyfriend, or someone she was seeing, was considered the prime suspect. Well, if you recall yesterday's video, I talked about an arrest that was made some weeks ago. And I also shared, would it be just a matter of time before someone else is arrested in this case? Well, lo and behold, Brooks Houck has been arrested in the mystery disappearance of Crystal Rogers. And so we're going to dive into what we know at this time. Don't go anywhere. Mr. Brooks Houck has been arrested in the disappearance of Crystal Rogers. Now, as I shared with you yesterday, the cops, they don't believe that she's alive. They actually do not believe she's alive at all. And FBI, they swooped in basically to save the day in 2020. And so federal agents today, September 27th, 2023, has arrested the former boyfriend of Crystal Rogers, the Kentucky mother of 5 who vanished nearly a decade ago. And so now he has been charged, including murder. Brooks William Houck, he is also charged with tampering with physical evidence in connection to the July 2015 death of Crystal Rogers. That's according to the one-page indictment in his arrest. Now, Rogers, as I shared, she was a mother of 5 from Bardstown, and this is around 40 miles southeast of Louisville, and she disappeared on July 3rd, 2015. Her body has never been recovered. A Nelson County grand jury, they indicted Brooks, who is only 41 years old, so he had a lot of life to live, and his life looks to be going down the drain if he is found to be the actual perp behind this. And so now he is facing felony charges. And so they indicted him on September 20th with his arrest coming today. And according to this indictment, unsealed by a circuit court judge, today Houck is accused of killing Rogers on July 3rd or July 4th. They don't know exactly which day. They do know that she was last physically seen by someone who says, I am not responsible. I saw her Walmart July 3rd. They don't actually know if it was July 3rd or July 4th where she was actually, boom, gone. Now, he's accused of killing her, which means they believe she is not alive. And so the indictment, it does not provide any other additional specifics about her slaying, including how she died or where she was killed. So we don't even 8 years, we don't really know all of that. It also does not detail how Houck allegedly tampered with evidence in this case. And so Timothy Beam, a Federal Bureau of Investigation spokesperson, who is in Louisville, he said that Houck was arrested today in the morning in the city of Bardstown. And according to the FBI, he was arrested without any incident at a work site. Now, he is being housed at the Nelson County Jail on a $10 million cash bond. And that's a lot of money. So they really feel like we have the right guy. And he was ordered by the judge, do not contact the Rogers family at all. And so online court records, they show that Houck, he's slated to be arraigned on both charges on October 5th, which is about a little over a week from today. Now, it is not immediately known if he has an attorney, who his attorney is. This is a developing story. But the 35-year-old mother of five, Crystal Rogers from Bardstown, they shared a child together, Brooks Houck and her. She was reported missing by her mother on July 5th, I believe, because it was a few days before the mom is like worried sick. Like all they knew was she was supposed to be going on a date with that man. You're watching a video of his interrogation. This is not his recent interrogation. This is the older one where he was confronted about the phone call to Steve Lawson, who we find out is the dad to Joseph Lawson, who Joseph Lawson has been arrested as well for tampering with evidence. And so the two of them seem to be involved. But does Brooks Houck brother play a role in this? As I shared with you yesterday, he was fired after taking a lie detector test because they felt like he might have some type of involvement. Doesn't mean that he did anything to Crystal, but maybe he helped cover it up. Like we don't know much. I'm just speculating. I'm playing detective with you, right? And so, you know, after she goes missing, a few days later, her car was found abandoned on Bluegrass Parkway with her keys, phone, and purse still inside the car. And so that's when there was a red flag that something is not right at all. Now, Crystal, you know, her mom, Sherry Ballard, says that Crystal was a very good girl. She was a very good daughter. She was nice to everyone she met. She even let a friend stay with her because the friend didn't have a place to go. That's the type of person she was. Crystal, by all accounts, was very loved. And people are absolutely heartbroken that this mother of five can just pick up and disappear. Now, as I shared with you earlier on in the investigation, Brooks, he was identified as the initial main suspect. Now, he has denied any involvement, which is normally what they're supposed to say if they're planning on trying to get away with this, right? Now, he was her boyfriend at the time. I believe he was the ex-boyfriend, boyfriend, something like that. But regardless, they did have some type of relationship because they were going on a date the next day. So that I would say boyfriend at the time. So I probably should update that thumbnail because I believe I put ex-boyfriend. And so he says he last saw Rogers alive when they visited his family's farm the night before she disappeared, because when he wakes up, she's gone, right? He doesn't see her since, which obviously would make him the prime suspect right out of the gate. What did you think? But the fact that he's gotten away with it this long was like, my gosh, the FBI had to step in. As I shared with you, his brother Nick Houck, who was a police officer with Bardstown Police at that time of her disappearance, he was fired for interfering in the investigation. So he may be facing charges eventually as well if they find out that he had a lot more to play in this. No one has been charged in her disappearance. And the mayor of Bardstown said that Nick Houck had phoned his brother when he knew Brooks was being interviewed by detectives, warning that his brother should protect himself and that investigators might be trying to trip him up. That's what is alleged to have said. And I can, I've even seen shows where the brother might have been a police officer and he says to the brother, don't speak on this, get an attorney, get protection. And so I'm not going to dive deeper into the possibilities there, because it could be that, hey, this is just how it is. Don't speak without talking. But when he takes a lie detector test, that doesn't do him very good, right? Nick is not really forthcoming, I guess. So it must be he must play some type of role. Might be minor, might be small. In 2019, a home that was being built by Brooks Houck was burned down in what city officials said was an arson case. And so, his family, they own a lot of property. FBI agents, again, who took over who took over the case in this disappearance in 2020, they conducted multiple searches in and near Bardstown since Rogers went missing. And so they never really stopped investigating. It got heated up in 2020 when the FBI, see, more than 150 federal agents served search warrants in August of 2020 at 3 different sites that were owned by Houck and his family. Who's to say they didn't find anything there? Because think about it. Joseph had to be on the radar at some time. And you know that even when I shared the story yesterday, it was like, it's just a matter of time. If they arrested Joseph, they had to have someone else. And obviously, the only person that really it tied to was this guy here. And so when you stop and you think about all of that, it's like, okay, what else is he capable of? You see, over the past 8 years, the Bardstown farm where Rogers was last seen, it was a focal point of the investigation, with even most recent searches conducted in late of 2022. And so it started in 2020, but it continued over a few years. Now the land, it sits on 30 acres and it's owned by the Houck's mother. And it's been in the family for many, many decades. And in August of 2021, agents had searched a subdivision where Houck owns property. And agents reportedly were using a cadaver dog to search the subdivision. And, they still didn't really get anything too formal that it was like, okay, now we got our guy. And so, you could even see that the investigators, they were using a jackhammer on the driveway of the home, and I mean, they dug up the driveway thinking this girl could be here, right? They did everything they can, and they were zeroing in on like, okay, this has to be a location. They literally took out large chunks of the driveway, and then it was hauled out of the neighborhood in construction trucks. So they did what they can. On September 7th of 2021, the FBI, they announced that the search in Bardstown, it ended with several items of interest sent to a lab in Virginia, right? Which is like the main headquarters of the FBI. Maybe Quantico, I believe, something along those lines. And so it was sent over there for testing. No other information had ever really been released since that evidence was collected from those searches. And so we find out this is where we're at today. Now, as I shared with you earlier this month, Joseph Lawson was arrested in Nelson County, and he was charged with conspiracy to commit murder and tampering with physical evidence in connection with the case. Again, conspiracy to commit murder. That alone is chilling on its own. Now, they both have tampering with physical evidence, meaning that Joseph was helping him? Right now, we can only speculate because this is a brand new story, right? Now, Lawson's name had never surfaced publicly in this investigation before this shocking arrest of Joseph, right? And then after I find out about that arrest, I'm like, okay, there has to be more. There has to be another arrest coming in. The only person I could think of is the original suspect, the last person who is said to be seen with Crystal Rogers. Multiple witnesses said, yep, we saw her with Brooks. And now we can finally start getting justice for Crystal Rogers. This has been a mind-blowing story. And now it looks like there might be answers. My gosh, I cannot share with you how exciting this is. Because, hey, this interview, it didn't bring too much, but it brought enough. And now we can start the process to get justice for this wonderful girl. Because she was taken from this world way too soon. But was it this guy that did that? That is the question. Because a lot of people are wondering, why would this happen? The justice The time for justice is now. This was put into Crystal's, into the group on Crystal. Team Crystal. But truth is, now it's time to get this young lady justice. She was taken from this world way too soon. And as you know, if you've followed what I shared yesterday, Bardstown, they've got a few unsolved murders. And Bardstown is it's not like a New York City, St. Louis, Chicago. It's not like this big city where a lot of stuff can go unsolved. It's a small community. So to know that people are actually disappearing, ended up murdered. I mean, her dad was murdered. They still don't have the person who committed that crime. So at the end of the day, it's time to get justice for Crystal Rogers and hopefully more of those lost souls in that community, because there's a lot of broken families that are looking for answers, and now it's time to get answers, my friends. I'm Manny Rodriguez. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Deep True Crime. Until next time, my friends, have a great one. Be safe, be careful, be aware, be alert. It's a crazy world we live out there. Be careful. Peace.